That was ugly. We're gonna try that again. Hello everyone. So today we're coming to you from my floor next to my lovely unhaul stack. You didn't go watch my bookshelf organization video where I unhauled a whole lot of books. Go check that out now. But you know, I felt that sitting on the floor today was very called for due to the state of mind that I'm currently in. But we get to talk about books, so that's great. So hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Abigail, and today we are going to be doing my February wrap up. So I definitely did not read as much as I did in January, which is totally fine. February was just really not it for me. Really wasn't the best month, but that's okay because we've got March to look forward to. And I have just uploaded my March TBR, which I'm very excited for, so go check that out too if you want to. But yeah, I had a pretty wide variety of books. I would say there's a couple 3 stars, I think mainly 4 stars, I'm not positive, and I think there was 1 5-star, but it wasn't a new one. But anyways, let's get right on into it. So the first book that I finished in the month of February was The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson. And this is the 3rd book in the Truly Devious series. I actually did a full-on reading vlog for all 3 of these books, so go check that out if you want to. I was really proud of that vlog. But this one was definitely my 2nd favorite in the trilogy. I actually liked the 2nd one a little more than this one, but I honestly thought it was a great end to, I guess, the trilogy. Can't really say trilogy because there's a 4th one coming out, but I guess it was a okay wrap up to the mystery that these 3 books were focusing on. I did think that the ending was a little underwhelming and the beginning was a little slow for me, so for that reason, I gave this book 4 stars. So honestly, not a bad rating at all. I still really enjoyed it. This series was just such a great YA mystery thriller series. And I feel like, especially series, I have never heard of another, oh, actually, yeah, I have. Anyways, I think this is just such a great YA mystery series, and you should definitely check out if you're just getting into the genre. These books have just such a lovable and diverse and unique set of characters that once you are introduced to them, you will never want to say goodbye to them ever again, especially Nate. I love Nate. I really do.
Just smile and nod, y'all. That's right.
Moving on, so the next book I read on audiobook, and this book was Written in the Stars by, I forget the author's name, and I gave this book 3 stars. So Written in the Stars was described in like the little blurb that I read on Goodreads or whatever as a modern day Romeo and Juliet, but make it sapphic. And as soon as I read like that little short blurb, I was like, okay, it's borrowed. Mine, we're listening to it. And it was good. It was a really cute romance. If you are looking for a sapphic Pride and Prejudice, I don't know if this was it, because the only kind of Pride and Prejudice aspects of this book were the general names of the characters, which were Darcy and, what was her name? This is so embarrassing. What was her name? Elle. Because the characters' names were Darcy and Elle, so you know, Darcy, Elizabeth. We get it, yeah. And also just the characters' very general character types were like Pride and Prejudice, but other than that, there's nothing Pride and Prejudice about it, absolutely nothing. There are also just a couple little things that bugged me about this book, like the dialogue was sometimes boring or just like kind of cliche. And then also I felt like the side characters solely existed to give the main characters pep talks. and boy, were there a lot of pep talks. Yes, I would have liked to see a little more fleshed out side characters. And then there was also this trope that it really just annoys me. I really just don't like this like common like plot device that authors use, where one character overhears another character say something and they make like this huge deal out of it when it really didn't need to be that big of a deal. Yeah, that happened. Something that I did like is that when one character learned the baggage of the other character, they didn't immediately excuse their behavior and be like, oh, it's okay that you treated me like a shit. That's totally fine. You've got baggage. It's fine. No, they were like, okay, that doesn't excuse your behavior, which I really enjoyed. Overall, I thought this was a cute romance and I would definitely recommend it. So the next book that I read in February was, I did it guys, I gave into the hype. I did it and I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I'm sure as soon as I said the word hype, you knew exactly what book I was gonna say. I did it and I gave The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue 4.5 stars. I'm not gonna go super into depth on why I gave it that rating because there is going to be a full review for this book coming out very soon, so keep an eye out for that. But just some general notes, I'm sure we all know what Addie LaRue is about.
A girl makes a deal with basically a devil to live forever, but in the fine print, the devil kind of slips in there and says, okay, you can live forever, but no one will ever remember you and you will never be the thinking mark in the world. So literally this girl could go into a room, be with someone, chatting it up, having a fine time, they're vibing, you know, she walks out, comes back, they don't remember her. Fun times, right? So then she's living this entire life until she meets a guy who finally remembers her.
We've all heard that 1,000 times before, haven't we? Haven't we? We have. So a common critique that I heard people giving this book is that it is too slow for them. And I agree, this is not a fast-paced book at all. I'm gonna put the book down now. Yeah, this is not a fast-paced book at all, in the slightest. But I wasn't going into it thinking that it was going to be. So that helped. And also I enjoy a slow book. I really do. I don't mind slow books. And also I feel like the way that I read it also really helped me not get bored by the slowness of the story, because I took my time reading it. I think I took like a week and a half reading this book, which for me is an extremely long time to be reading one book. Yeah, I feel like just reading it slower allowed me to really just take everything in and appreciate it more rather than be like, okay, can we pick this up now? Like, let's go. Literally the most gorgeous book I've ever read. Got me in my feels. Yeah, the only thing that I didn't really like about this book was that it was very Eurocentric, which a lot of people have been bringing up with accordance in this book. Moving on. So the next book I read for school, and I feel like whenever I read something for school, like it could genuinely be a good book, but because I'm reading it for school, it automatically just knocks it down a couple levels for me. Like, it could be great, but purely because I'm reading it for school and I'm reading it over like an extended period of time, I don't like it as much as I probably could have if I'd read it on my own. And this book is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. And I know this isn't really like a typical book that you would read for school, I know that, but actually, it's a really cool thing about my school. One of the only things that I genuinely really like about my school is that because it is an all-girls school with an all-boys school literally connected to us by a little tiny crosswalk, but besides the point, because it is an all-girls school in theory, the English curriculum really focuses on giving us books to read that are written about powerful women or inspiring women, written by women or women of color. And so, you know, it's not your standard, you read a book written by an old white dude that died 100 years ago, you know? So Where the Crawdads Sing is basically about this girl, Kaya, who was abandoned by her family when she's really young. And you basically just follow her life as she's living in isolation in this marsh. And she has a very deep connection with nature. And you also simultaneously follow this little murder mystery kind of thing that's happening where the town's golden boy has died and they think it's a murder, but they don't know who killed him. So there's that. I thought this book was like very nicely written. Like there were all these descriptions of nature and whatever that I was like kind of vibing with while I was reading, you know? And I also thought it was like a very thought-provoking book, like especially at the ending. Like we had this whole debate in class about whether Kai's actions towards the end of the book were justified or not. I did find it very slow at points, and so I gave this book 4 stars. I don't know if I already said that, but that was what my rating was. Cool. So the next book I also listened to on audiobook throughout the month, and this was Hood Feminism, Notes from the Women That a Movement Forgot. And I don't give nonfiction books a rating just because it just feels wrong to me. Like, maybe I didn't enjoy reading it that much, but it was still important, and the information in it was still incredibly valuable. So I don't think I should be rating my enjoyment of the book because anyways, it just feels weird to me. I really thought this book expanded my view of feminism and what counts as a feminist issue. Like, for example, I never thought that maybe gun control or housing or food security would be considered as a mainstream feminist issue, but it is. And I also really appreciated this book for being very purposefully uncomfortable. The information that presented was definitely very valuable. And I have started a goal for 2021 of reading at least 6 nonfiction books this year. So that's like 1 every other month. So I'm really hoping I can get to maybe even more than that. So then the next book that I finished in the month of February was Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. And this was actually a reread because Addie LaRue put me in a reading slump. And I was just in a really crappy mood on top of that reading slump. I was just sitting there at my desk working on my homework, contemplating what the hell I'm even doing this for. And I just hear this book calling my name. So what did I do? I dropped everything and read it straight through the night.
Drop that motherfucker. Yes.
Yeah, and it was 5 stars, like the first time I read it, because I love this book. It's one of my favorites. So for those of you who don't know what Cemetery Boys is about, this book follows Yadriel, who is a trans brujo. So brujos are men that can help people pass on to the afterlife, and brujas are women that can heal people. That's cool, right? And so it follows Yadriel, who, like I said before, is a trans brujo. So he is trying to prove to his very traditional family that he is a real brujo and that he does have the powers that comes with being one. And so to do this, he tries to summon the ghost of his cousin, but accidentally he summons the recently deceased school bad boy, Julian. Y'all know I love me a recently deceased school bad boy. Wait, take out the recently deceased part. I don't like recently deceased ones. I just like school bad. Anyways, so after Yadriel accidentally summons Julian, he's like, oh shit, wrong guy. Sorry, man, I gotta pass you on over to the afterlife. And Julian's like, no, you're not. And so Yadriel, with the help of his cousin Maritza, who we stand Maritza, a bad bleep if we have ever seen one. I need a bad bleep. Addison Rae, little shawty the baddest. Yeah, and she got her ways. Whoa, that was a throwback. Does anyone remember when that was a thing? That was a time. Anyways, so with the help of his cousin, so enlisting the help of his cousin Maritza, the 3 of them go and they try to take care of Julian's unfinished business so that he can then pass over to the afterlife. But of course, things don't really go to plan, and there may be something more to Julian's death than initially meets the eye. I honestly can't rave enough about this book. I can't. The characters are adorable. The romance just chef's kiss, and then just the touching on heavier topics without being too overbearing. The vibrant culture and diversity of this book, so good, and it's short, guys. Like I said, I blew through this in one night. And this book just makes you feel so happy and warm inside. I can't recommend it enough. Also, stunning cover. Hello. Oh. And then you guys. Look at this. Look at that. Gorgeous. Oh, also another kind of cool thing is that Aidan Thomas, the author of this book, is actually like from around the area that I am. Like they mention in their bio that they were born in Oakland, California, and I live like Bay Area, so that's pretty cool. And they mentioned the Mountain View Cemetery, which like I'm pretty sure I've been to. I don't know, I always find it so cool when authors are like from my state or like from my specific area, you know? I find it so cool. Like I just love them even more if they're like from my area. Like I just feel connected to them. Is that just me? That's probably just me, whatever. So then the last book that I finished in February was The Black Kids by Christina Hammonds read. And I give this book 3 stars, which sounds so bad, I know, but hear me out, guys, hear me out. So I was trying to read this book in the middle of my reading slump. Like I was reading this book and I couldn't read. So then I picked up Cemetery Boys and then I could get back to this book. I needed Cemetery Boys to like get me going again. So I was struggling trying to get through this book. And it wasn't really on this book, it was just on me and the place I was at while trying to read this book and the slump that I was in. So I didn't enjoy it as much as I think I could have. Yeah, so the average rating is really a me problem. Like 3 stars isn't even that bad. It means that I liked it. I liked the book. I thought it was an amazing coming of age story of a Black girl in Los Angeles during the 1992 Rodney King riots. And I thought that there were some really important topics discussed in here, like the experiences of a Black teenager growing up and police brutality and the injustice in the justice system. I do have to say, Ashley, who is the main character of this book, really isn't the most likable character. She really isn't. She makes mistakes and she is often kind of ignorant to everything that's going on around her and the way that her actions have consequences. But I feel like she really grows throughout the book and I really did feel for her and I felt like I could relate to her in a lot of ways. I forgot to mention, I also didn't really enjoy the writing style of this book. It's very unique, it's kind of simple, and it's kind of very conversational in a way. And there's also really no room for interpretation in it. Like, it just straight up tells you what something means. It doesn't let you figure it out for yourself, which I like doing. So that took me a little bit to get into, and I didn't particularly enjoy it. But yeah. Yay! So that was my February wrap up. All the books that I read in February. Wasn't too many, but whatever. Hopefully March will be a tiny bit better of a reading month than February was. We'll just have to wait and see, won't we? So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell, do whatever you need to do. And comment down below your opinions on any of these books you read, or comment down below what your favorite or maybe least favorite was of February. You know I love a good rant. And that's it. Bye-bye.